This speculative narrative explores an alternate history where early 20th century Europe's ingenuity fosters peace and progress, not destruction. Chapter 1: The Great Collaboration. In an alternate 20th century, where the dark clouds of war never gathered over Europe, the early decades were marked not by the thunder of guns, but by the hum of industry and the buzz of excited conversation. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914, rather than igniting the fuse of conflict, became a catalyst for unity. Nations, horrified by the close brush with disaster, turned towards dialogue and diplomacy. The Great Collaboration began in the 1920s as visionary leaders across Europe sought to harness the collective ingenuity of the continent. The League of Nations, far more effective in this reality, facilitated a golden era of cooperation. Borders remained, but ideas and people flowed freely across them. The spirit of the age was one of shared prosperity and innovation. Europe's intellectual and industrial powerhouses joined forces, leading to breakthroughs that might have seemed like science fiction in a less enlightened timeline. The combustion engine was rapidly succeeded by clean, electric power, as scientists from Germany and France made leaps in battery technology. British and Italian engineers collaborated on the design of magnificent suspension bridges that connected the continent in a lattice of steel and hope. The 1930s saw the rise of the European Technological Alliance, a body that pooled resources and talent to tackle the grand challenges of the age. Hunger was vanquished through advances in agriculture, spearheaded by a Dutch initiative that revolutionized food production with sustainable practices. The scourge of disease retreated in the face of a pan-European healthcare system, underpinned by Spanish and Swiss innovations in medicine. As the century progressed, the world looked on in awe. The United States, inspired by Europe's example, redoubled its own efforts in science and civil rights. The Soviet Union, rather than walling itself off, opened its doors to exchange knowledge, particularly in the fields of space exploration and environmental science. By the dawn of the 21st century, the fruits of the Great Collaboration were evident. Climate change, having been recognized as a threat early on, was addressed through a combination of renewable energy and carbon capture technologies. The European Space Cooperative, a descendant of the Technological Alliance, had established a permanent human presence on the Moon and was preparing for the first manned mission to Mars. In this world, the 21st century is an era of boundless potential. Cities are smart and sustainable, with green rooftops and efficient public transport systems powered by clean energy. Education is a lifelong pursuit, accessible to all, and the arts flourish in an atmosphere of cross-cultural respect and admiration. The future, always uncertain, seems bright. The challenges that humanity faces are met not with fear and division, but with the collective resolve that has become the hallmark of this alternate Europe. The Great Collaboration, once a bold experiment, is now the bedrock of a civilization that reaches for the stars, grounded in the wisdom that together, anything is possible. In the century of synergy, the tapestry of human achievement unfurled across the skies, a testament to what unity and shared purpose can accomplish. The European continent, once a mosaic of competing nations, had become the heart of a world pulsating with the rhythm of cooperation. The spirit of the Great Collaboration had infused every aspect of life, from the cobblestone streets of ancient cities reborn with modern purpose, to the gleaming spires of spaceports reaching toward the heavens. Imagine a world where the energy of the sun and the power of the wind are harnessed so completely that the very concept of pollution becomes a relic of history books. Picture cities where buildings are not just structures, but living ecosystems, their walls adorned with verdant flora that purify the air and nourish the soul. Envision a society where the pursuit of knowledge is not a privilege but a right, where every child grows up fluent in the language of technology and the arts, their minds nurtured by the collective wisdom of a continent united. In this world, the boundaries of what is possible are ever expanding. The European Space Cooperative, now a beacon of human aspiration, has not only colonized the Moon and Mars, but has set its sights on the outer reaches of our solar system. The stars themselves are no longer distant points of light, but destinations on a map that humanity is learning to navigate with the same dexterity as the explorers of old charted the oceans. But what of the human spirit in this century of synergy? It thrives, fueled by the knowledge that every individual has the power to contribute to the greater good. The arts and culture have entered a renaissance of their own, with musicians, painters, and writers drawing inspiration from a society that values their work as the soul of civilization. The stories they tell, the music they compose, and the images they create are threads in the vibrant tapestry of a world at peace with itself. And yet, the story does not end here. For every achievement, every leap into the unknown raises new questions, new challenges. How will humanity navigate the ethical quandaries of genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and beyond? What new forms of governance will emerge as we settle distant worlds? How will we ensure that the spirit of collaboration endures as we face the unknown? The century of synergy is not just a period in time, it is a continuous journey, a narrative that each generation inherits and rewrites. It is a story of hope, a saga of what can be accomplished when the best of human intellect and compassion are aligned. As we stand on the precipice of the future, gazing out at the infinite possibilities, we are reminded that the power to shape the next chapter lies within each of us. So, dear listener, as you ponder the world that could have been, ask yourself, what role will you play in the story of tomorrow? How will you contribute to the symphony of progress? The future is not a distant dream, but a canvas awaiting the brushstrokes of the bold, the curious, and the kind. In the century of synergy, every one of us holds the pen that writes the next line, the paintbrush that colors the next horizon. Let us then step forward, together, into the unwritten pages of our shared destiny, with the knowledge that in unity, our potential knows no bounds.